Good morning. I am in Great Sand Dunes National Park and Preserve in Colorado. Here's the campsite. I took up just one little corner of it, basically. So as I said, this is Great Sand Dunes National Park and Preserve. I'm in the and preserve part right now. There's the national park itself, and then on the side of it is the preserve. The national park is the sand dunes basically down in the valley. And then above the valley in the mountains where I am now is the National Preserve. The National Park was created and then scientists realized how important of a role the creeks in these mountains play as far as forming and replenishing the sand dunes goes, because sand is blown up into these canyons and then, rain washes it down into the creeks, and the creeks bring the sand back to the dunes. And so they created the preserve kind of as an addition to the national park. And you're allowed to camp for free up in the preserve where I am now. I'm in Medano Canyon, and there are a bunch of free dispersed campsites up along the road here. The only problem is that this is a four-wheel drive high clearance road. I'm in the Yukon right now, which has a lift and big tires and four-wheel drive. There's no way my RAV4 would have been able to make it. I came up and over the pass yesterday from the east and came down in here. I'm gonna retrace my steps a little bit. I'm gonna go for a hike first thing this morning. I'm ultimately gonna see the dunes, of course, today, but I'm gonna wait a few hours before I go to the dunes. So let's go for a hike. Gonna drive back up the canyon to a little parking area, gonna hike to some scenic spots higher up. Here is the trailhead. This is the actual trail. Tiny little parking area. So this is the Medano Lake trailhead. And right now I'm at 9,600 feet, and the lake is at 11,500 feet and is 4 miles away. I'm right here, and I'm gonna hike up to the lake. I had originally wanted to climb up this mountain from the lake. Apparently there are great views of the sand dunes from there, but the weather is pretty sketchy right now. It rained off and on throughout the night, and it's still cloudy and a little bit menacing looking, and so the top of a mountain is not the place you want to be in imperfect weather. After 2 hours of hiking through the forest, I've arrived at the dark and mysterious and gloomy Medano Lake. There's just a little water-filled gash at the bottom of this high valley here. It's cold and windy up here. I'm not gonna spend too much time hanging out up here. It's not Not a pleasant place right now. It is beautiful though. I'm tired. I'm ready for a nap. But I got stuff to do today. It's 11:34, took about an hour and 15 minutes to get back down. It's pretty sunny and warm down here at the trailhead. And now the plan is to drive out of the canyon here on this four-wheel drive, high clearance road. I think it said, I read something that said the road crosses the stream 9 times. So we have that to look forward to. The stream is relatively low this time of year, so crossing it isn't an issue. Well, with not too much road left to go, there's a problem. Apparently a RAV4 popped a tire, so they're trying to change the tire up there somewhere. But there are a bunch of cars on this side. Apparently there are a bunch of cars on that side. Here are the dunes though. First look at the dunes. And the mountains behind me are gorgeous. So this is the Sangre de Cristo mountain range, the Blood of Christ mountain range. This is one of Colorado's great mountain ranges. Goes up to way above 14,000 feet. This is the canyon that I just came out of. Medano Creek runs out of the canyon. It's a beautiful place to be stuck for however long it takes to change a RAV4 tire. And we are on the move again. It didn't take too long. I was only waiting for maybe 10 minutes. I'm now at the main dune parking lot, and just outside the national park, just 10 minutes from here, there's a little like RV park, store, restaurant that also sells or rents sandboards. So I rented one there for $20. It's $20 a day. I only have couple hours. I have to be back here in about an hour and 45 minutes to give me enough time to drive to return the board. So I don't have a ton of time. The other issue is that it is super windy outside. And if you've ever been around a lot of sand, when it's really windy, you know, it's kind of unpleasant. The little pieces of sand, the sand grains, the sand particles hit your exposed skin, and it's like getting sand blasted. So we'll see. I might not go all the way to the top of the dunes. I might just hike up and then board down and then surrender to the elements here and admit defeat. But the goal is to hike up to the highest dune in this area. This isn't the highest dune in all of the national park. There's one that's kind of on the other side of the dune field. It takes much more effort to get to and much more effort to climb. I'm fine with just hiking up a pretty high dune. Doesn't have to be the highest dune. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna try to hike up all the way to the top of it, but again, we'll see. Oh, and also I'm not gonna film with this camera. I don't want to take my good camera out in the sand, basically. So I'm gonna just do all of this filming for this section on the GoPro. It's so windy. 2/3 of the way up to the top. That's the dune behind me. It's called High Dune. But the wind is just too much. It's just brutal hiking conditions. Now, I've been to several dune fields in the US. This one is probably the prettiest situated one that I've been to. These mountains here are just gorgeous. But now it's time to head down. I'm going to try to use this thing. I don't snowboard, so this should be interesting. I'm gonna try to basically retrace my steps. You can see my footprints in the snow, in the sand here. It's pretty low angled. If the board can slide on this, then great, but I might need to find a steeper slope. If not, I might have to go down this way. Okay, here goes nothing. Well, that could have been worse. Wrong way. My footprints from just 5 minutes ago are almost completely erased. Give it another 5 minutes and they'll be completely gone, blown in by the wind. Okay, this is a little bit better. This is working. The person who rented this to me said that the key is to keep most of your weight on the back foot. Okay, I need to get readjusted here. Come on. I'm gonna put more wax on the board. It's not really sliding anymore. When I rented this, they gave me a little circle of wax too. I'm gonna be picking sand out of my everything for weeks. Whoa. Ow. Ow. Well, this is kind of a disaster, but it's a fun disaster. Okay, kind of doing it. Believe it or not, this is the second time I've rented a sandboard. You wouldn't know it by looking at me, but I have done this before. In Idaho. That was pretty good. I slid pretty far. It was steep enough that I could go down, but not so steep that I had to carve, that I had to turn. Is there any other slope steep enough here? I'm not sure. You know, I live only 15 minutes from the St. Anthony Dunes in Idaho.
They are very large, very expansive dunes. I should get one of these so I can be practicing. I need the practice. Well, I returned the sandboard successfully. I think I'm more sand than man now. There's so much sand on me, and like my clothes, my pockets, my hair, like when I touch my scalp, it's just sand. My beard, in my ears, up my nose, in my mouth. It was so windy, the sand just got everywhere. You know, that's an interesting national park. I'm out of the park now, by the way. I'm at my next destination. I'm gonna do a short little hike, but before I do that, I wanna wrap up Great Sand Dunes National Park. I don't know if I've ever been to a national park that's so one note. Like, there are the dunes there, and then there are the mountains there. The mountains, while important for the dune ecosystem, aren't really worthy of national park status on their own, let's say. They're pretty. You know, I enjoyed camping there. I certainly enjoyed hiking up there this morning. But the mountains on their own, I mean, there are many more spectacular mountain ranges in other places, in Colorado and beyond. And so the park basically is the dunes, and I'm kind of conflicted. Like, I really enjoyed the dunes. I don't think I would have designated that place a national park. I think it's one of the more unimpressive national parks I've been to, if I'm being honest. Again, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing the dunes. They're beautiful. I enjoyed hiking among the dunes to a certain extent because of the wind, and I enjoyed sliding down the dunes, but it's probably at the bottom of Colorado national parks if I were to rank them, and pretty close to the bottom of national parks in the western US. It seems lacking compared to other national parks I've been to, and I've been to most of the national parks in the West, and this one just, it needs a little more of something extra. That's my review of Great Sand Dunes National Park. I'm now about 10-15 minutes down the road. I'm gonna do a short hike up to a little waterfall. It's called Zapata Falls. It's like half of a mile total, or maybe each way, I'm not sure, I don't remember, but either way, it's an easy hike. I'm gonna get some gear ready and then we'll hit the trail. You can hear the waterfall now. Must be back in there somewhere. That is a dark cleft in the rocks if I have ever seen one. I assume the waterfall's back in there. This is a wild little waterfall. It's so dark and cool back in here. And this is basically as far as you can go. I mean, I think there's another trail that leads deeper into the canyon, but from here, I mean, you can't hike above this waterfall here from here. Pretty cool spot. And back at the parking lot here, there's a good view of the entire valley, the San Luis Valley, with the dunes at the far end. So basically this all used to be a lake, and then the lake dried up, and then the sediment at the bottom of the lake was blown by winds to form the dunes over there. And the winds blow the sand into the mountains, and then the mountain streams bring the sand back in. So these are the Sangre de Cristo Mountains over here, and then this is the eastern end of the San Juan Mountains over this way. And with that, I'm going to go run some errands in Alamosa, which is the largest town in this little area. Going to go get gas and some food and all that kind of thing. Not very interesting. I'm not going to film it. I will start filming again when I've found a campsite for the night. I don't know if that'll be here in southern Colorado or if that'll be in northern New Mexico. I am heading to New Mexico. I'll be in New Mexico for all of tomorrow and the next few days. So I'll let you know once I've found a nice little campsite for the night. Finally made it to a campsite, again, just as it's getting dark. That seems to be a theme on this trip. Pretty area. I'm in northern New Mexico. It's nice and quiet. There's nothing out here. Except for one thing over here. We've got what I think is a man-made little pond here, a tank for probably watering cattle. Yeah, it feels good to be back in New Mexico. This is a state I don't explore enough. And there's a pretty good reason for that, that being that it's far from me. I mean, this is what, like 1,000 miles from me? I live in Idaho, so to get here, to get to New Mexico, I have to go through either Utah and Arizona or Wyoming and Colorado. And all of those are amazing states with lots of interesting and beautiful things to see and do, so it's just hard for me to get here because it is so far away and I have to pass by so much cool stuff to get here. But yeah, I do like New Mexico. It's a beautiful place and it's quiet. And you know, that's one thing that I appreciate more and more as I travel more. The problem is that I think I'm just going to be doing one SUV RVing video here in New Mexico on this trip. I'm going to spend a couple days fishing here after I film tomorrow's SUV RVing video, but of course that's not going to be on this channel, that'll be on my fishing channel. So anyway, Great Sand Dunes National Park. Just a weird thing to be a national park. I don't know, maybe, am I wrong? Like, let me know what you guys think about it. What have your experiences been like in that particular national park? Whoa. Okay, sorry about that. I was using this suction cup. Can you see it? I was using this suction cup camera mount thing, and obviously it's not suctioning enough. But yeah, let me know what your experiences have been like in Great Sand Dunes National Park. What have you seen and done there? What did you enjoy doing? Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your favorite part was. And I'll see you in the next one. Be sure to check out Adventure Know-How, my new site, where you can gain access to a map of all of my free campsites, plus monthly bonus videos that you won't find anywhere else. Learn more at adventureknowhow.com. And for links to everything else SUV RVing related, visit suvrving.com. Links to these sites and more will be in the video description.